Today, Dan and Andy are going to talk through our Coat Maxi Miller. This is probably the most widely used machine that we have, and I'll hand over to the guys now. We're going to go through the miller and the associated tools, and we're also going to do a quick demo as well. So gents, over to you.
Hello everybody. So the Maxi Miller, this very machine that's in front of me here, very capable machine, very popular machine, a wide range of uses from drain cleaning right through to removing concrete, so full range of work. So remember, it does everything. It's not just a specialist tool. So we've got 33 meters of shaft on here, and it's a 12mm shaft, so heavy duty. It's going to work hard for you and earn its money. The machine is capable of working in the range of 70mm up to 200mm, and speed wise we can get up to 1500 RPM, so plenty of high speed out of that. The machine itself is slightly on the heavy side, a bit like myself. You got 89 kilos. I didn't mention you, Dan. Nope. 89 kilos in weight, so it's a two-man lift. Generally going to get in out of the van, but it tends to go out with the two-man sort of repair teams and things. In terms of if it sadly lets you down or needs some maintenance in the field, it's completely repairable out and about, so we can trim the shafts and carry out any sort of basic maintenance on the machine. Good access to get around to do everything on them. Minimal servicing. The best servicing is to lubricate the shaft with our Miller lubricant. Makes a world of difference to the machine and how it runs. We have a huge range of tools, and we haven't got all of them here by any means. Dan's going to talk about some of these shortly, and as we said, he's going to do a little demo for us. So all of those tools there, just a good sample of what we've got. When we're talking about the machine itself, actually, I'll just mention power supplies. So UK is a 110 machine, and what makes it special to a lot of other 110 equipment we have in the UK, it's actually got a 32 amp plug on it. That's a larger one to be used to the 16 amp one. The rest of the world, we've got 110 volt and 220, 240 volt machines with the sort of local plugs on. So talked about the range of tools and what we're going to do with it. We can remove liners, concrete, carry out reinstatements, such reopening lateral connections. The very basic work that it does, and it does very well. Unblocking, the cleaning, cutting out roots. Got tools for cutting out metal in drains, descaling, a whole range of tools for different things, and it's also capable of working with our brush coating pump system. So our DC1000E and applying the resin onto the pipes with that system is kind of compatible with this machine. So you can start with your miller and then add that to your system as you go on. Build your business to earn us all money. So that's the machine. I think I'll hand over to you, Dan, if you want to talk about the tools.
Okay. So before we go on to the tools, the machine comes with 30 meters of usable shaft. You can also extend it by another 10 meters. Okay, so just by sticking another shaft on this end. Right, so moving on to the tools. So the most basic of tools that we have, or start at the beginning, I suppose, for tools, are the original tools. Original chains like these. Okay, they're 2 fixed points on the shaft, and if you need to increase the diameter of the chains, you just move one end and it opens those out. They open up a bit bigger. We here at Picote, we would always fix these to a leader. So we use leaders in order to mount our tools, like this, for example. So all a leader is a short piece of cable with a bit of casing on it and a connector. And instead of having just that tool loose, I fix it, mount it onto one of these leaders. Makes it a lot harder to lose. And this end of the cable takes most of the abuse.
So it makes it quick to swap out.
It does make it a lot quicker to swap out as well. So the other thing is, if you've just got tools like this, and you don't have a leader, for example, if you go from this tool to something like a Cyclone, then what happens is you have to cut back the casing on the outside of the shaft in order to get this mounted onto the shaft and use it as a tool. When you come to use this tool, which you might need to use straight afterwards, you've got too much exposed steel from the end of the cable, which is a weak point. That's not going to do your machine any good. So what happens is guys trim it off and then they use this tool, then they finish their job, pack it away. When they come to start the next job, they've got to fit this tool. So they have to cut the casing back. Then they fit the tool, do the job, finish off with the Cyclone chains, but they've got too much exposed steel, so they have to cut that off. We have had these machines, which went out of the factory with 30+ meters on, come back into here for repair with less than 8 meters left of cable left on the machine. And if they'd have just bought a leader and mounted this tool onto the end of it, then the amount of shaft that you need to go into this socket is exactly the same amount of shaft that you need in order to mount this tool. So you're never trimming it back other than when it's damaged. So you haven't got any exposed steel, makes it a lot safer, a lot less likely to lose tools, a lot stronger. You can do a lot more with it. So,
And it's time on site too, cutting through the car.
yeah, which can take some time for us, for example, when we're doing stuff like exhibitions. Even if you get an angle grinder out at an exhibition, someone with a in high vis beige is going to come running over and with a clipboard and tell you to stop immediately because you're going to create some sparks. And it might be the same on a number of construction sites or factory units or wherever it is that you guys are working. You might suffer the same. So it reduces the chances of that happening. So these are original chains. We have drill head chains where we've now fitted at one end. We've now fitted a drill head. This still oscillates as it goes down the pipe, but is very, very good for removing scale and obstacles in the way, that sort of thing. So that's the drill head. We have like I mentioned earlier, Cyclone chains. These only open up to the diameter. You can buy these in whatever diameter you would like, and they only open up to that diameter. And very, very good for cleaning the surface of the pipes. Last sort of 5 to 10% of the debris on a pipe. Very, very good at cleaning. Also good for root removal on specific points. So yeah, original chains, drill chains, Cyclone chains. And the other type of chain that we most commonly talk about is 3D chains. So these are 3D chains, and the difference with these is that they have a spring inside here and a boxed end, so that as these spin at a certain speed, they will open. This centrifugal force means that these chains will open out. They'll open out to a certain diameter. If you then speed the shaft up even more, they will open up more and more and more. So if you have a diameter change where you're going, for example, from 70 mil to 100 mil, and you've got a lot of these to do, then you can use one of these. And what it does is it saves you taking the 70 mil chains off of the shaft, fitting 100 millimeter chains onto the shaft. You just change. All you have to do with this is turn the speed up or down, depending on what size pipe you're in. So it can make cleaning stack pipes and vent pipes in apartment buildings, for example, a lot quicker. Okay, so that's the other type of chain that we do, 3D chains.
So the different types of carbides.
Yes. So Yeah, so they've got different teeth on them. For example, these are tigers. These are the tigers because they've got teeth like that. Okay, as opposed to the premiums, which look like these. But you can get these with teeth, carbide teeth on them, or you can get them without carbide teeth on them. When they don't have carbides on them, they're then PVC safe. Okay. So, not that you're going to use an awful lot of PVC safe stuff with the Maxi Miller. Okay, so next thing to talk about, Smart Cutter. Now, if we're going out to do any work from here, if we're asked to go out and do some site work, this is generally the tool that we would take because they're so versatile. I can take this this cap off here, and I can put various different designs of various different types of cutting head on the front of it. Thank you very much. So here's one I prepared earlier. This one has a thin cutting head on the front and a drill head, and it does exactly the same thing. I can drill through things, and then I can open them up with the panels which are fitted behind. So this is a very versatile tool. Again, root cutting, liner removal, in some cases concrete removal if there's flare on a joint, for example. Very, very good at getting that kind of thing out. I've also ground steel out with them once. I've used the stone cutter. So I've had a bar go through a pipe. I've cut it out with this stone cutter and then ground the stub back with the panels with the smart cutter.
That's amazingly careful as well in a fragile pipe, although very efficient.
Yeah, it's very efficient, and it doesn't tend to damage the pipe. So fragile pipes is not too bad in. We can get it round in most cases. I have used this, for example, where my only access into the pipe was DN 100, but the pipe that I actually wanted to grind off was DN 150. And because I can squeeze these panels up and then put a bit of tape around them, I could get it small enough to get into a quite small access. So yeah, very versatile bit of kit. It also illustrates where we would use a leader again. So everything that we would put on our machines, all of the tools would go on a leader. This is one without a leader. If I put this straight onto that shaft on that machine, then I've got to cut the casing back, and then I've got to cut the shaft back again.
We've got the panels as well in polishing.
Yeah, so we do these various different panels. I mean, your standard panels like these are abrasive enough to grind down steel. We do an extra tough panel as well, which is quite aggressive, and then we do a fairly non-aggressive panel called a polishing panel, which is exactly what it's for. It's for polishing up steel pipes. Once you've done the job, just so you can take out some of the scoring in there from these panels. But yeah, very, very versatile bit of kit. So thank you, sir. Spider. So a spider tool. Here we are.
Why is it called a spider now?
Why is it called a spider? Don't know. Because it looks like a giraffe. I'm not sure.
Let's find out.
Okay. So these legs, this is fitted with spring-loaded legs. There's 6 sets of them, and you can compress them in order to get it into a pipe. They are slightly bigger once they're in this sort of shape than the actual diameter of the pipe. So they do need to go in. They're a bit awkward to get in, but once you got them in, that awkwardness, the reason that they're awkward is because they're spring-loaded, and that those spring-loaded legs then ensure that this tool stays absolutely in the center of the pipe, which is great. If you've got up to 1/3 of the pipe missing, then this tool won't come out of the pipe because the other legs will hold it in as it spins around. We'll have videos of these in action, which Steph will put into the chat, which you can then have a look online at the videos for this, because it's quite an exceptional piece of kit. The other thing it's very, very good at is taking out corrosion in cast iron pipes, and also the removal of fats, oils and grease from pipes as well. So very versatile. And again, because it's got this cap, this standard cap that we use. You can take that off and you can put plates on there and cutters and all sorts of things, whatever you need to do. So that's the Spider Sweeper. Now, if you were looking at cutting out liners, if you have a liner which is collapsed into the bottom of a pipe, so there's a U shape, you know, it's folded up, doubled up in the bottom of a pipe. I have used this to great effect at cutting out those kind of liners where they failed. Obviously not one of mine, it was somebody else's. Nothing to do with me. I'm just saying. And so because this will collapse, that's as big as that's going to be. That's as big as the entry point that I need in order to get it inside a pipe. So if I've got a DM100, for example, and the bottom of it is folded up, there's a folded up liner in there, I can get this down over the top of the liner, a meter or two up, and then spin it up, and it will grind away the liner. And then I can pull that out in sections, which very, very effective. Very, very good for cleaning the inside of cast iron or just any kind of pipe, really, because as soon as it starts to spin, these legs flail out to whatever the size of the pipe is, like so. And these legs act like a file on the surface of the pipe. Very, very good at cleaning them up. Again, we can fix different cutting heads on the front of it, which we've used to great effect. So they come in various sizes, very advantageous if you've got a small access point to work from. And once you get it in, you can clean quite big pipes with it. So, concrete cutters. So this is an older style concrete cutter. Works very, very effectively. Personally, I'd rather use one of these because I like the randomness that these carbide teeth have been laid in here. It makes for very good cutting. I can tell it's a concrete cutter because it's got two brushes behind as opposed to the lateral cutter, which has only got one. This makes it far more flexible. Both of these tools will go around a 90-degree bend. That's not an issue, but this is just slightly more flexible than this one. This has the two brushes behind it because most of the concrete cutting that's done on horizontally, and you want the two brushes on the back of that cutting head to hold it as centrally as you possibly can. Okay, because what you don't want is, once you're grinding away at concrete, is for this tool to veer off and go up through the pipe, because the pipe will be weaker than the concrete. But usually the pipe is weaker than the concrete that you're trying to actually mill through. This won't break up any concrete off in big chunks. It will pulverize it into a dust. Okay, this is the wrong tool if you want to start breaking big bits of concrete up in chunks. It just won't do it. This is a slightly different style, same thing, but slightly different style. This is Tiger plate on the front of this. This has far more uniform cutting teeth on the front of it. Again, very good for milling. And what we found through our own experience on site is if we use a combination of the two of these types of tool, where we have the randomness of these carbide teeth on here and the uniform of these Tiger teeth here, we can cut through concrete very successfully.
And then we'd use that to finish off.
Then we would use the smart cutter just to finish it off, so we get back to the pipe before we then got to repair the pipe, because obviously a pipe with concrete in it is usually broken. So let's have that one. So the other type of specialist tool we have for the Maxi Miller is the Express Cutter, which if you've lined the stack pipe in an apartment building like we would do, we need to open up those lateral connections as quickly as we possibly can. So this is a tool that's specifically designed to do that. This is a Tiger plate with a cup, an optional cup fitted to the front of it, because some of our customers are very used to using hole cutters, and this is the type of tool that they were asking for. So we produced it. It's actually we found it very effective for grinding out the knot on a liner, didn't we? Where someone might have lost control of it.
And then back to the smart cutter to finish that job off.
Again, pretty much every single one of the jobs that we would do with these tools, we would then go back to the smart cutter to finish it off. Talking of smart cutters, this is a specific tool built for cutting liners from the inside of the liner. But these panels will obviously fit in this hub, and this hub will also fit the smart cutter panel. So you don't need to buy this particular tool outright just to cut back some liner that you've overshot. What you can do is just buy these panels and fit them to the smart hub that you've already got. So yeah, the idea of this is that you fold these panels up, put a bit of tape around it, push it down the pipe inside your liner that you've then overshot into the city sewer. And if you like them, the city that is, then you can open this up, spin it up, and cut off the overshot liner in little sections, like what we like to call onion rings. And if you don't like them, you can chop it off all in one big lump and then send it down the sewer. Depends what you want to do.
Also, shot pipe is,
yeah, we've had a couple of occasions where contractors pushed a pipe into a bigger pipe and overshot it, basically. And we went to site and we used this to great effect to cut it back. Again, that was another job where there was DN 150 pipes pushed into a DN 450 with only a DN 100 access. And we use these tools to get in and open it up and trim those pipes back. So that's the kind of range of tools. The other thing I was going to talk about was drill heads. So we do a range of drill heads for these tools, for the Maximilla. We have normal hardened steel, and then we've got carbide drill heads as well. Now these, when used with the chains that you might have on a leader, become a very effective tool. So this one, for example, with the PVC chains behind, very good for taking out large soft blockages, wet wipes, that sort of thing. Whereas this one with a carbide drill head on the front and some standard chains behind, actually very good for concrete removal. We found it acts like an SDS drill because the shaft oscillates, the tool oscillates when it's coming up against something very hard. This is bouncing around the face of the concrete as it's attacking it, and these chains are flailed out and they're holding this as centrally as possible. We just found it to be very effective. Acted like a jackhammer inside the pipe up against some concrete. Very effective.
Pointing out a bit of casing you've got in between the.
Okay, so whilst we're talking about it, you might have noticed that there is a little bit of casing on the inside of the chains that we've done this on both of these tools. Now, the reason that we do that is because, as you can see on this tool, for example, where we have carbide teeth, the casing's taking an awful lot of battering. But what that means is that the casing's taking the battering and not the shaft, not the actual cable itself. So it's quite advantageous in that respect. The only disadvantage to doing this is it makes it a little less flexible. So if I had multiple 90-degree bends to get round, I might not put this casing in here just to make it a bit more flexible to go around. But then the flip side of that is it then makes it a little bit weaker. As you can see, this one where we forgot PVC safe chains, not damaged at all. Okay.
I think it's just the new. Yeah, just go with that one.
The new
one.
Are we just calling it the new one?
New one.
The new one, right. So we've got the new one. So this is our new drill chain. It's actually very effective for reopening lateral connections. I would imagine if you were to use it on roots, it would be very effective at getting through roots. So this is fixed. It's just a much larger drill head chain with some very aggressive chains behind it. Yeah. Like I say, we've used it to open up lateral connections very effectively, but I'm sure you could use it for all sorts of removal with inside. And very efficient, yeah, very, very clever bit of kit. So I can imagine that's going to be very popular. As soon as people see this, see how aggressive it looks, they're going to go, I want one of those.
There's been quite a lot of that on social media to be posted quite a few times by people.
Yeah.
So
They're called the Express drill chains. So the Express drill chains. That new. I can't remember what they're called. Pretty much memorized every other tool we've got. So, you know, cut me some slack.
One or two tools that you've got.
The 3 or 4 tools. And there they are when they're not fitted on a leader. But as I say, always fit everything on a leader. We would always do that. Right. So
Dan, before we move on to the demo and setting it up, I'm just going to show everybody. We've gone through lots of tools. We have a lot more that we could have showed you in the short time, but we haven't. I'm just going to share my screen because what we've got a range of what we call drain cleaning quick guides, which helps you select the correct tool. I'm just going to share my screen. So you should be able to see.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, well, that's great. So I've just got, obviously we've been talking about the Maxi Miller. Here we've got all the tools for the Maxi Miller on here. Cast iron, we do a clay pipe version and one for plastic pipes. So for descaling, we've got intact, fragile and damaged, and the tools that are safe to use under these conditions. We've got special applications, so we've got tools that will cut out the tree roots. We've got tools that are designed to cut through metal and are there as well. And then we've got the tools for cutting out collapse liners, whether it's a full collapse, a partial collapse, or it's scrunched up in the middle of the pipe. And then we've got the tools for removing partial or full concrete out of that. So these are really good because, like I said, we do a lot of a large range of tools, and every machine has the three cleaning guides: cast iron, clay, and concrete.
I'll talk them through what it's. Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to show you. Just stop sharing for a minute while I just switch over to a new. The next one, which is, and I'll share that again. So to go with the cleaning guides, we've also got the lateral reinstatement quick guides as well. And again, this is the one for cast iron pipes for the Maxi Miller. And again, if it's an unlined pipe, when we talk about lined and unlined, the guys, what we actually mean is the pipe that you are going to go down with the cutter through, does that have that pipe have a lining in or not? You can see here with the unlined version, we can come down here, then cut through. Once we've cut through with any of the cutters, then we'll finish off with the smart cutter as well. What I'll do is now I'll go back to the lads. I'll stop sharing mine and then we can go back. They'll do the demo. We've got a question and answer. If you've got any questions, please can you add that in through the chat, and then we'll answer those when they've finished doing the demo. Okay, Steph, if you put them back on so they're highlighted, that'd be great.
Hello.
There we go. So this is what we're going to use. All set up for a demo. I'll hand that over to Dan. Dan's our practical man today.
Thank you very much.
Making a noise and some dust.
Right, so this is DN 150 Tiger plate, and what we're actually going to do, if you can just make it out on your screen, is we're going to cut out a protruding or an intruding connection. The reason we're doing this and not a bit of concrete is because actually grinding out concrete is dull. It just takes a long time. It's the same thing. It's just a bit of dust.
a mess.
It makes a mess. Yeah, that's about it. It doesn't make for a great demo. Same, very similar with cutting out liner as well. So we just thought
We could do this with this if we had access.
we absolutely could do it with that cutter. We could, if we've got access to the lateral, we could come down it and cut it off that way. We're gonna do it with the as if we were in the main run. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Right, so someone's going to need to mute me because this could be a bit loud. Right, can you see that? There we go. So, as you can see, most of the pipe has been turned into dust, and the reason that we do that is because it means that we haven't got quite so much mess to clear up. If we cut off big chunks of pipe like you would with a hole cutter, for example, then for us as a contractor ourselves, we've then got to go chasing that bit of debris down the pipe and get it out. So that just makes our lives harder. So once we've done this, we would then finish that off by
The faithful smart cutter.
grinding it back with the smart cutter, because what we've got is we've taken out probably 90% of that pipe. We've taken out. The last 10% I'm going to grind out with the smart cutter. Again, it's going to take a few minutes to do that, but yeah, that's what I would be doing. Okay,
A lot easier than digging a hole.
it's a lot quicker than digging a hole, a lot easier than digging a hole. Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of where we are.
Good little demo.
Thank you.
Richard.
So, thank you very much for the gents for the demo, explaining the different tools. Has anybody got any questions they want to ask currently? If you have, can you just put it into the chat? One of the items, one of the tools that is very, very versatile, and when you look through the guides and the quick guides and stuff like that, is the smart cutter. So if you're never too sure what you're going to need and what you're going to be doing, then it's really good if you've got the smart cutter, because generally they do 2 different pipe diameters. They're very versatile. They can cut, they can clean, they can remove tree roots, they can grind back, they can do everything. So probably the most versatile tool that we have in the range, and there's always one available to do specific items. For those who have actually got the machine or brought up a Picote with it, might be the Maxi. It could be any of the other machines we've got. All I'm going to do is just share my screen again, because for every machine that we produce a quick guide. Okay, every machine we have an operations manual. And I'm just going back here. That's the one there. So for every machine, there's a manual that you can download from the Picote Institute. But they're multiple pages. The idea with all the operators checklists we've got here for the Maxi, they are just simply 2 pages. Generally, when we do training courses, we will print them out and laminate them back to back, so the trainees can take away this information. Is how to use the machine, PPE, how to use the machine safely, how to set the machine up, what to do and how to use the machines whilst you're using it, and also how to do the maintenance. So these operator checklists are very, very useful. if you've got a machine, I'd certainly recommend that you print out the operator's checklist and the quick cleaning guides as well. Oh yeah, on every machine there'll be a QR code, which will take you straight into the website and to the relevant information for that machine that you've got. I always advise people and recommend that you do go to the institute. Steph will put the link in the chat if we've not got it there already, and it's an awesome place to get any information on any Precoat product. Let's stop showing my machine, so we're back into the main bit. So let's ask the question, would you recommend using the extension for the liner removal over 33 meters? Yes, with the Maxi, it has 30 meters of shaft working length, and then on top of that, and in addition to that, we can actually add a 10-meter extension. Normally you would run the machine cleaning or cutting as far as possible with the shaft on the drum, on the reel, and then once you've gone and as far as you can do, come back out and then remove the tool, connect the 10-meter extension to the miller shaft, connect the tool to the front of the extension, and then start machining again. So with the Maxi, the Maxi with the extension on has 40 meters range. I'm just checking through if anybody else has got any questions at all on the on what we've done today. Like I said, we do offer training courses. We can do training here in Sandhurst. We can do training in Porvo, and if you're based over in the USA, we can do it in from our training centre in Phoenix. So if you go on the Precoat website, and all the training centres are listed on there, and all the contact details as well. So we generally here run courses up to 6 people, and you can come to visit us for the training, or we can do online webinar training like you've seen today as well, if you can't get into any of the training centres. Fine. So like I said, if you've got anything else, yeah, you know where we are. Like I said, we've got the 3 training centres in here in Porvo and over in Phoenix, Arizona. So, right, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed. You've learned a lot, and like I said, thank you for your time. This has been recorded, and all the information, everything will be available shortly on YouTube. Thank you very much.